Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on Play on GAA with me, Seamus, Brady, your host, and for this one I am going to give my full preview and prediction for who I think will win the Munster Hurling Championship for 2023. So we've ended up here with Clare and Limerick facing off in the Munster Hurling Final for the second year in a row. Now, everyone remembers last year's Munster Final. What an amazing game. Tony Kelly sidelined to send the game to extra time. Some of the performances that day from the likes of John Conlon, Tony Kelly, Diarmuid Byrnes, Declan Hannon. It was just absolutely privileged to watch that game. And we're going to get to watch it all over again this year. The Munster Hurling Final of 2023, Clare versus Limerick at the Gaelic grounds. Who do I think is going to win this game? So let's get into the full breakdown. Remarkably, Clare have not won a Munster title since 1998. Tony Kelly does not have a Munster medal. John Conlon does not have a Munster medal. They have All Ireland medals, but they don't have a Munster medal, remarkably. Can they do it this year? Now, they did beat Limerick in the Gaelic grounds already this year. That is a crucial aspect here. This is not uncharted territory for Clare, going down to the Gaelic grounds and beating this Limerick side. It's something that they've already done this year. But let's get into some stats and some key facts about this game. So running through Clare's recent results. Okay, so starting off in the Munster Championship, they started off by losing to Tipperary. Now, that game was super high in terms of end product. Both teams were on fire that game. Tipperary hit 5 goals past Clare, and it did look like Clare were in trouble. Then they went away to the Gaelic grounds, as I said, and beat Limerick in an amazing performance by 124 to 220. They followed this up by beating Waterford by 222 to 16 points. And then in Ennis, they beat Cork in an epic by 222 to 3 goals and 18 points. Whereas Limerick, on the other hand, they beat Waterford on the opening day, but didn't look too impressive doing it. Waterford did some good things. They held Barry Nash quite well. They blocked up the middle really, really well. And they held Limerick to a really tight game. Then Limerick lost to Clare at the Gaelic grounds and really looked in trouble. They drew a Tipperary in a game where they really fought. And in my opinion, they showed their fighting spirit and their heart and their determination and their will to win in that game just as much as they did in their final day victory over Cork. It would have been very easy for this Limerick team to just fold at that stage. You look at Dublin footballers, for example, against Mayo in the All-Ireland semi-final of 2021. When it fell apart, it fell apart. Whereas Limerick, there's some real metal there. And they did not lie down. They kept fighting until the end, and they got the draw out the Tipperary game and could have won it. Obviously, Tom Morrissey looked like he had won it until obviously John McGrath got the free to equalise. Then they beat Cork by 325 to 130. Now, some big factors when you're talking about what Limerick is. Sean Finn's out injured. The form of Gearóid Hegarty and Cian Lynch is questionable right now. Gearóid Hegarty did start against Cork, and he did look like he was coming back into his own. Cian Lynch has looked way off the pace this year. And it is remarkable to see players of that caliber be taken off. To see in the Tipperary game, taken off Cian Lynch, taken off Gearóid Hegarty, taken off Seamus Flanagan. Never thought I would ever see the day. But that just shows a real strength of this Limerick management team as well. They're not preferential in their players. It's what you're doing now. Reputation is not enough to get into this Limerick side. It's what you're doing now. It's how you're playing now. Are they back at their best? Because if Gearóid Hegarty is at his best in this game, that is huge, huge trouble for Clare, because he is an absolute weapon. And you saw the goal that he got in last year's Munster Final, flicking it over the head, bang into the back of the net. Just an incredible goal. And when he's at his best, I genuinely think he's the best right half forward I've ever seen. I'm talking about peak right half forward. Like, his performance in the All-Ireland Hurling Final last year was ridiculous. He's crucial. Sean Finn's injury is crucial as well. Who's going to pick up Tony Kelly? His form has been ridiculously good. But then again, Jerry Miller did a very good job on him in the Cork game, and it did show a potential blueprint to get at him. Also, Cathal Barrett from Tipperary in the past has done a very similar job on him, stuck with him, got in his head, got in his ear, didn't leave him a moment to breathe, because Tony Kelly does tend to perform really, really well against Limerick. Just check out last year's Munster Final. Limerick's fatigue is another critical factor. They're reminding me a lot of, if anybody here watching this has ever seen The Last Dance, the basketball documentary about Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls. In that 1998 last season, they were so tired because every team has been gunning for them for the last few years. That is what it is like with Limerick. This is not in any way comparable, in my opinion, to Kilkenny's 4 in a row and to Dublin's 6, because I think it's harder what they've done. Because right out of the gate, they've had teams on them. Like from the start, Dublin and Kilkenny had relatively easy runs through Leinster. And I'm not saying for a second that neither of those achievements were incredible. Like Kilkenny's 4 in a row was incredible, one of the best teams of all time. Dublin 6 in a row, incredible, the best Gaelic football team of all time, in my opinion. But Limerick have Clare, Cork, Waterford, Tip on them from the get-go, from the start, and they all have a target on Limerick's back. They all know how they want to play against Limerick. They all have somebody to mark Road Hegarty. They all have somebody to mark Keane Lynch, to mark Will O'Donoghue. They all have somebody for these guys. And how Limerick have just kept winning and winning and winning is remarkable. You look at it. Look how good Clare had to be last year to draw with them. Kilkenny scored 226 in an All-Ireland final. Still lost. That's how much Limerick have raised the bar. Now other teams have raised their bar and Clare beat them this year. Can they beat them again? Time for the big decision. Who wins this Munster final, in my opinion? Clare or Limerick? It's so difficult to call because just something about the way that Limerick have managed to sneak into this Munster final is just like, of course they managed it. Of course, Waterford just decided to beat Tipperary and put Limerick into this Munster final, where now they get a crack at redeeming themselves against Clare. It's in the Gaelic grounds as well, something which is hugely significant. The more I talk about it, now there's a part of me that just, I really want Tony Kelly and John Conlon and the like to win a Munster medal. I really, really do. Will they though? It's so hard to call. It genuinely is so hard to call. I am going to go with, I genuinely am deciding now, having weighed it all up, I am going to go with Limerick to win this game. I'm just saying that just the fact that they've managed to make it here and they've always turned up for the Munster finals over the last few years. You look at Tipperary, and Tipperary were on top of them in the first half and Limerick came back and got them in the second half. I'm just saying, this reminds me a lot of Kilkenny Galway 2012. Galway got Kilkenny. Kilkenny got them in the All-Ireland final. Yeah, Kilkenny Galway last year. Like, it's one of those things where, look, Limerick have got a second chance at this Clare side, and I don't think they tend to turn it down. That being said, as I said in my prediction, I would not be surprised if Clare win. It's that tight. It's that close. But I am going to go with Limerick just about. And I mean, I would not be surprised if either of them win. They are two incredible teams. Like, genuinely as good as I've ever seen. But yeah, I cannot wait to see this game. It's going to be an absolute cracker. Let me know who you think is going to win in the comments below. And until next one, guys, take care.